A question was raised at the Pentagon today. At the very top, the Secretary of Defense, if this terrorist group, ISIS, is capable of what we have seen so far, the rampant violence and gruesome killings, most recently the awful execution of an American journalist carried out on camera, then what risk does ISIS perhaps pose to the United States? The answer from the boss at the Pentagon today indicates it's a question the U.S. is concerned about, and in a violent world for good reason. It's where we begin tonight with White House correspondent Kristen Welker traveling with the vacationing president tonight. Martha's Vineyard. Kristen, good evening.
Brian, good evening. Today, the Secretary of Defense spoke to reporters for the first time since James Foley was executed, and he didn't mince his words about the immediate threat that ISIS poses. The Secretary of Defense acknowledged today what armies in Syria and Iraq already knew. ISIS is a force to be reckoned with.
They're beyond just a terrorist group. They marry ideology, a sophistication of strategic and tactical military prowess.
And they forced the Pentagon to react.
This is beyond anything that we've seen. So we must prepare for everything, and the only way you do that is you take a cold, steely, hard look at it and get ready.
It's not just on the battlefield. The ISIS PR machine is sophisticated, its technology up to date, videos to instill fear, a tweet taunting the president with a photo of an ISIS flag in the shadow of the White House, and most recently the video of James Foley's execution on YouTube, prompting fear that Foley's death is only the beginning.
I don't think we've seen a more significant threat to American security since the early days of 9/11.
Increasing pressure on the president, who adopted a defiant tone yesterday.
The United States of America will continue to do what we must do to protect our people.
But after those remarks, Mr. Obama went back to trying to balance vacation with work, even as some critics questioned whether he should have cut his vacation short. And while the White House continues to rule out boots on the ground, the State Department wants 300 more security personnel in Baghdad, and airstrikes against ISIS were increased after Foley was killed.
Clearly, if we're going to use military action to try to fight these folks, it's going to have to be more aggressive than what we've done heretofore.
But there's pressure to do nothing, too. Polls consistently show a majority of Americans oppose further U.S. military intervention. Still, experts say ISIS has changed the calculus for the president.
Mr. Obama, I think, has realized he can't use this narrative any longer of how he's ending 2 wars on his watch, and we're going to have to settle in for a long effort.
The Joint Chiefs Chairman, General Martin Dempsey, had a blunt assessment of what it would take to defeat ISIS. He said the U.S. and its allies would have to attack the terrorist group on Syrian soil. A senior administration official told me this afternoon the president is weighing a range of options, but there are no immediate plans to go that far. Brian.
Kristen Welker covering the vacationing president tonight, Martha's Vineyard, Massachusetts. Kristen, thanks. Also tonight.